Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Carrie and I want to share with you my healing through trauma. Like many people, I grew up with the belief that I didn't have that much trauma. I wasn't hit, I wasn't molested, but I had this deep depression and this suicidal ideation and attempts and suicidal thoughts and this high anxiety that I didn't even know what anxiety was, but I had it since I was 12. When I was 12 years old was when my depression started. And from there, I developed this self-loathing, this intense, deeply self-hating behavior. And so I never thought I'd be here. Honestly, I never thought I was going to live past 18. I really thought I'd be dead by now. But I did actually find stuff that works, and I wanted to share that with people. And I'm really hoping that my story will inspire someone, even if it just inspires one person to try a new technique, to start their healing journey, to actually change their lives for the better. Then this putting myself out here with these videos will be worth it. I hate being on camera, so hopefully this will be worth it. So I'm an eclectic person. I have a pretty big toolbox that I use, a toolkit they call it. So I wanted to share with you the very first book that I found. I was actually very suicidal back in my 20s when I was living in Massachusetts. So I went to a bookstore and I found myself in the self-help section, and I found this book, 10 Days to Self-Esteem, Healing Depression and Anxiety. It sounds pretty cheesy by the title, but it's a cognitive behavioral therapy workbook. And this book taught me what anxiety was, and it gives you these worksheets that show you where you are with your depression and anxiety, and also is able to label these mental demons, I call them. If you can put a label on it, you can stop it and redirect and change it. So it's being able to label these negative thoughts and patterns, identify them, and then change them. And it's been instrumental to my healing process, and I still go back and forth between this book because there's some days when as for me, one of my biggest things is disassociation. I'm disassociating, I'm not here present in my body, I can't even feel my body sometimes. So when I'm numb and I can't figure out what a trigger is or what happened, I use this book for some reason. When I'm going through the work pages, I'm able to see, as I'm going through the checklist, I'm able to figure out what that block is, what that numbness is being caused by. The second big thing in my toolkit is Complex PTSD by Pete Walker. This book changed my life. This book is the Bible to why I am the way I am. And even Pete Walker says, he came from a physically abusive childhood, and he even mentions in this book that the physical abuse was almost better. I mean, it's not better, but it was almost better because he had a marker. He had something to be like, this happened. I have a bruise or a mark. This was real. It's the emotional neglect and the emotional and verbal abuse that is really hard to identify as roots into your depression and anxiety. Another book that I'm really obsessed with is The Artist's Way. This book, as crazy as it sounds, the more you write or create, whatever your creative outlet is, the more you engage in that, the more present you are physically in your body, honestly. So the more I write and do my morning pages every day, the more I write, the more I'm connecting to myself. And the more I connect to myself, I'm able to connect to spirit, as wacky as that sounds. I know some of you aren't gonna be like, spirit, whatever. But my spiritual path has also been instrumental in my healing. But it's really hard for me to talk about because I've had a lot of really weird shit happen to me spiritually. I had a lot of stuff happen, and so it was really hard for me because I always gravitated towards normal people and tried to be normal, and those normal people were always telling me I was batshit crazy. I suffer from these intense night terrors, and I know some people are like, oh, it's a night terror. This wasn't a night terror. This was an actual supernatural event that happened to me. And then my deities came to me when I was young during a suicide attempt. the goddess Isis. And she's always been this loving, maternal figure for me when my mother couldn't be. My mother had 2 young kids when I was 12. So she didn't have much time for me as a single parent, working and taking care of my younger siblings. So as my depression got worse and worse, I didn't have a good source of help when I was young. So the other things I use in my toolkit, back to my toolkit, the other things I use, diet. Diet is so important. Diet, when I realize I am starting to get depressed or anxious, I can look at, okay, well, no drinking, no coffee. Have I taken my vitamins? Have I been outside? Have I been getting exercise? Also, exercise is very important, especially to me, because it changes your serotonin levels. It makes me feel more accomplished. I actually feel prettier after just doing one exercise. You know, I feel like, especially after one weightlifting workout, I'm like, oh my God, I'm God. Look at me. I can lift a mountain, even though I know it's not, I can't really lift a mountain, but it just really changes your mood and your outlook. Nature walks is very important. That's actually something my therapist taught me. Sometimes you're so stuck in your head, you need to just get the fuck out of the house. Go out, go for a walk, and then once you get out, you're connecting to your senses again. It's about being present in the moment and in your body. You can take your shoes off, touch the grass if you're in a place that allows that. You can hear the leaves in the wind. You can smell the grass or the snow or whatever, the clouds, the cold. It just makes you present, and it's so important because things that seem often for me that seem really big and huge and that are really eating at me, they feel so small once you go out. I also do art therapy on my own. I do journaling, which is really important, although I gotta do more of it. I haven't been doing as much journaling as I'd like. But yeah, visual journaling, which can be really helpful because you can just get a lot of emotions out and a lot of deep stuff, sticky stuff in there. Journaling, I do play video games sometimes that help me. I find really good positive uplifting shows or even horror movies. Sometimes comic books help me, especially X-Men. Sometimes you just need some X-Men positive reinforcement to inspire me to keep moving on and forward, because a lot of those characters have real life problems. And then my dog, just spending quality time with my dog, snuggling with her on the couch. Again, my spirituality is huge. I do meditation, which is very important. And something I want to note to people is that the healing journey, it's not a straight forward. It's not a straight line. You know, I always call it the relapse, the depression relapse. There's times that really hard and difficult times in my life, like during COVID, a lot of people died, my marriage ended, and I just had so much shit going on that sometimes you relapse back into a full depression because life hands you a shit sandwich. And sometimes you get stuck, and sometimes it's easier, like as someone who suffered from depression, sometimes depression is just easier. It's easier. It can't be taken away. Like happiness can be taken away, but depression, you know, that's there. And so it becomes familiar and it's home. And but I want to say that this healing journey is worth it. It is, because your trauma and your triggers don't control you nearly as much. You don't have that constant self-loathing and that self-hatred anymore. And so that's been the biggest payoff for me. Like I just spent so much time thinking about how awful I was, and I don't do that anymore. I don't hate myself. I love myself most days. And I'm still on my healing journey. I mean, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. Because there's no cut and clear cure, which is kind of exciting that I get to keep discovering new things about myself and new strengths and new ways of healing and better ways of healing. So also in my toolkit is my therapist, which I haven't used in a while. But I'm going to once I actually have money to start going back to my therapist. But my trauma therapist was hugely helpful for me. She taught me that I actually have trauma, which I didn't think I had, but the more I dug deep into these painful memories I had been suppressing, I realized I have a lot more fucking trauma than I thought. She's been instrumental in helping me, especially with the whole get out. Just get out of the house, go for a walk, go connect to nature, go dig in a garden, get your hands dirty. But she's helped me a lot. And also she was really encouraging me to use whatever my spirituality is and to embrace that. For me, my spirituality has been such a blessing and a curse. Like I said, I've seen a lot of really weird stuff and feeling crazier from this. So yeah, I'm sure I'm missing something because I'm super nervous. Super nervous. This is my first video, so yeah. All right. So from here, I'm going to go on to making a bunch of videos about each different component that I use. I want to make videos on the visual journaling stuff that I use and how I use it, art in general and how I use it for my healing journey. I'll do videos on my spirituality. Again, it's hard for me to talk about, but I mean, I'm at a point where I know this stuff that I've experienced is real. I've actually had other mediums and people I know that are sensitive see the stuff that I've experienced. And so knowing that my night terror thing, that other people have seen it and that it was real, it wasn't in my head where I was being told, you know, my whole life through all my relationships and partners that this isn't real, you're crazy. And it turns out I'm not crazy, which is great. Although I always evaluate whether I'm not. But yeah, so there's that, and I will share with you my journey through complex PTSD book with Pete Walker and how that has changed my life, the 10 days to self-esteem. I'll make different videos on each of these components. So that's that. Sorry, this was a rough video. This is my first time and I've been meaning to do this and get it done. And I've just been procrastinating, and now it's the day to do it. So this is my first video. Thank you for watching. Bye.